This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So if you consider virtual machines or the data inside the virtual machines, so of course Azure is giving you the high availability zones, availability sets, and all of these concepts are there for saving your servers from any physical server, physical data center issues like power, network issues, and if you consider data center maintenance activities, hardware maintenance activities. So in this case, you will have an application that has to be up and running for your critical business. Okay. So though your servers are up and running without any issue, still organizations needs a backup. Okay. So when I say backup, it can be a full virtual machine backup, entire virtual machine, including C drive, D drive, everything. Let's say in your laptop you have got C drive, D drive, E drive, and full VM backup means you are going to capture all the backup, the full laptop backup, which means if you want to use that backup again in a different machine, or if you want to restore that backup, yes, you can restore, and you can have all the data including operating system. That is a full virtual machine backup that we can achieve. If not, let's say you have got C drive, D drive, E drive, you want only a backup of E drive where there is an important data. Okay, you can achieve that one as well. If not, you need, let's say, within E drive, you have got some folders, let's say photos. Okay, I'm just giving an example as a personal friend. So you have photos folder in your E drive and you want to take backup only for that photos. Yes, you can achieve the same way here in virtual machines, whether it is in Azure or in your on-premises. You can achieve this data level backup or file and folder level backup using Azure backup solution. So we've got two things here. Let me write down. Azure Recovery Services Vault. Okay, Azure Recovery Services Vault, and then we have got Azure Backup Center. So you can use Azure Backup Center for disk level backup and Recovery Services Vault for file and folder level backup and full virtual machine or full or partial. Okay, whatever. సో ఎట్లాగంటే ఇప్పుడు ఒక విఎం నడుస్తుంది, విఎంలో సి డ్రైవ్, డి డ్రైవ్, ఈ డ్రైవ్ అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి. నీకేమో ఓన్లీ సి డ్రైవ్, డి డ్రైవ్ కావాలి. When I say C drive, D drive, it can be a disk level backup. If you want exclusively C drive, D drive, that is called as disk backup. If you want entire virtual machine backup where you can restore it using operating system, then you call it as full VM backup. Okay, we can achieve that using Azure Recovery Services Vault, and people will also call it as ASR. Remember this one. ASR is nothing but Azure Site Recovery or Azure Recovery Services Vault. Okay, so I'll write down that one as well. Using this Azure Site Recovery, we can not only achieve this file and folder level backup and full VM backup, you can also enable disaster recovery for your virtual machines. Okay, so it means you have your data center enabled for East US region for your business. Okay, well, you have, let's consider this one. This is East US. So you have deployed your virtual machines in availability zones where there is uh, a multiple data centers available here in region 1. What if let's say this is east US? Okay, what if something happens to this data center, entire data center, not one server, not one application, not one availability zone? What will happen if entire data center is down? And which is where we have a concept called disaster recovery. If there is any unexpected natural calamities like earthquake, floods, then you have to go for secondary region. So it means this is not like this is a one-time setup which you have to enable. Let's say for East US, you are choosing secondary region as West US. Okay. So a few years ago, you might have seen that there were floods in Chennai, right? So all the network has been interrupted because of the heavy floods. So for South India, West India has acted as a secondary region, and people who has not enabled uh, disaster recovery, they have got impacted, and whoever has got impacted, Microsoft has also taken care because it is a data center outage because of natural calamity. They have enabled it back to Chennai data center, and they have restored it very quickly because that is entire data center issue. It's not one system issue. All right. Okay. So here in this case, if entire East US region is down, you will have connections to this West US region, and you will have all your servers in this region as well. And there will be a continuous data replication from primary to secondary. So if you remember storage account, we have got a concept called GRS, right? So primary to secondary replicate అవుతుంది అనుకున్నాం కదా. So similar type of replication can happen here in this East US and West US. It will keep on happening. If there is an outage here, data will get moved to West US. It's not data, it's the connections. Okay. Now, similar setup can be enabled using this. Where is that? Yeah, Azure Recovery Services Vault. It is a multi-purpose service, not only for backups. We will see demo as well how we can enable disaster recovery for our virtual machines. Now, Azure Backup Center is useful to enable disk level backup, and there are few more options which we can achieve. Let me show you the portal directly. So if you get a role on Azure, you might be working on this backup services as well if there is a requirement. So do not say that I don't know the backup. Okay. So people who are there on the market, let's say if they are using net backup or some third party tools, they are limited to that tool only. But here, you know about backup, you know about monitoring, you know about metrics. However, you need initial guidance for the first time, and then you'll be able to make it for all the services that customer needs. Okay, so just give me a minute. Right, so let's come back to portal. So here, let me see the resource groups, or let me see the resources, how many are there in the subscription, so that I can delete unwanted resources. Okay, so there are NSGs, there is an availability set. I don't know who has created this one. Let me delete these all of this first to avoid confusion. RGVNet, and there are no devices here. Delete, yes. So let me make it fast, and then there are rules, which is fine. Okay, there is some error there. So you have to delete entire resource group when you are done with your lab. Delete entire resource group so that all the resources under that resource group will get deleted. You have to give confirmation. Otherwise, see, yeah, there are many resources here. Okay, there is some issue there. Your practice చేస్తున్నారు. Who is this?
అన్న అది స్టాప్ చేసి ఇంకా చూపిస్తుంది అలాగే నేను స్టాప్ చేసి పెట్టాను.
స్టాప్ చేసా. ఓకే ఫైన్. సరే, తర్వాత
ఓకే.
డిలీట్ చేసి.
ఓకే.
ఐ మీన్ అన్ని చేసిన తర్వాత డిలీట్ చేయబడలేదు. నేను ఇప్పుడు
ఓకే.
మర్చిపోయారని చెప్పి చేస్తున్నా అంతే.
ఓకే.
Okay, so now let me go to resource groups. Is that yours now? Empty resource groups chala unnai. So let's delete all this so that we'll have clarity. Okay, so this is done. Now let me go to recovery services world. So as I mentioned, we have got these two types where you can enable backup. So Azure Backup Center is a latest feature where you have got more and more advanced options which are getting embedded into that service. So first thing first, let's go with recovery services vault. Search for recovery services vault here in your portal search service. Recovery services vault, and here at the stage there are no recovery services vaults to display. So create recovery services vault, and you have to choose the subscription as usual. Create new resource group. So here I'll make it like uh, demo recovery services vault -01. What happened? Okay, and then oh, vault name. So I'll make it like demo recovery vault -01, and then location I'm going with East US itself. Review and create. So creation is very simple, and also I have skipped these tags throughout all our sessions. Okay, I will explain that one also at later stages. So vault is getting created. So when I say backup vault, it means, where is it? To take a backup, let's say you have your data in your laptop and you have got external hard disk to take a backup. So external hard disk will also have certain amount of space so that you can take backup accordingly. Similarly, when you create Azure Site Recovery Vault or Recovery Services Vault, there will be a storage account in the backend. Okay, and that storage account can be GRS, ZRS, whatever it is. By default, it will get created, and as soon as it gets created, and see here you can see deployment is complete. As soon as recovery services vault is created, you have to verify the settings of that recovery services vault, whether it is GRS or ZRS. If it is GRS, the cost will be high. So let me show you where you can modify that. So come back to properties, and there's a properties where I'm referring from the recovery services vault, and here you have got backup configuration. So click on this, and you can see that by default it has picked up geo redundant. So which means if you want to change it, you have to change it before you save any data in the backup solution. Otherwise, it is very difficult to modify. So now it is zero redundant. For backups, we will generally recommend locally redundant because we don't want to have the replication from primary to secondary having GRS storage replication. Okay. Now, in this case, I'm making it like LRS and save. Okay. So, and now you can come back to this overview page. Okay. That is the first step that you have to take care. Whether it is if you are uh, working in enterprise also, you have to validate whether you need a recovery services vault with LRS as replication type in the backend storage, or ZRS or GRS. It depends because the cost will vary, depends on your selection. So generally backups will be there only for LRS. Now we have got remaining options like activity log, access control, tags, diagnose and solve problems. These are common settings which I'm not referring at this stage. Now, what we were discussing is backup. So again, in backup, we have got file and folder level backup. As I mentioned, along with backup, you will also see recovery services, site recovery. There is a backup, and along with that backup, there is a site recovery as well, which is for disaster recovery configuration. Okay, so first we will look for backup. I'm coming here, click on the settings, backup, and what are you trying to take a backup. And before we go there, see the notification. This storage replication is set to locally redundant. This option cannot be changed later once you're done with your backup. Whether it is a data backup or VM backup, ఏది తీసుకున్నా కూడా ఇది చేంజ్ చేయడానికి కుదరదు అనమాట. That is for the first time that you have to take care before you take any backup. Now, where is your workload running? So my workload is running. If it is a VM level backup, you can choose Azure Virtual Machine because this backup solution will support not only for the VMs in Azure, you can also use this on-premises setup. So on-premises లో VMs ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయా ఉంటే అక్కడ అది కూడా బ్యాకప్ తీసుకోవచ్చు. But the problem is, let me draw the diagram for that. If you want to capture, let's say this is Azure and Azure backup solution. I'm writing it like this. And you have got your on-premises. Here you have got VMware virtual machines, physical servers. There are many more items in your on-premises. Even though we are moving everything to Azure, still there will be some stuff in on-premises. Which means if you want to take a backup from here to here, there will be high latency. It means, let's say your VM, for example, here it has got 1 TB of disks, C drive, D drive అన్ని కలిపి 1 TB ఉన్నాయనుకుందాం. ఇది VM1 అయితే ఇంకా చాలా ఉంటాయి కదా, some 500 GB and 10 TB. So if you want to use this backup solution over the network, because here we are using a network, and when you are using network, and if you are trying to take a backup of this much capacity, 1 terabyte, 500 GB, 100 GB, ఆన్ ప్రిమిసెస్ లో నెట్వర్క్ లిమిటేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, ఎందుకంటే బ్యాండ్ విడ్త్ లిమిటేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఈవెన్ ఇన్ అవర్ హోమ్స్ ఆల్సో, ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ యూజింగ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ దెర్ విల్ బి 50 Mbps, 100 Mbps అట్లా స్పీడ్ ఉంటుంది కదా. ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ లో లెట్స్ సే యూ హ్యావ్ గాట్ మోర్ స్పీడ్, because there are there will be more users who will be using the internet, there will be more systems who will be accessing that internet. Now అట్లాంటప్పుడు ఈ 1 TB బ్యాకప్ ని ఇక్కడ తీసుకొని రావాలి, ఇక్కడ తీసుకొని రావాలంటే దిస్ ఇస్ ఎ టైమ్ టేకింగ్ ప్రాసెస్. All of your network consumption will be very high, and all of your other services which are running in on premises will get impacted, because bandwidth, entire bandwidth that you have is getting consumed within your backup solution. So which is not a recommended approach. If you have super fast network, and if you have a dedicated network only for backup, then you can go for this on premises to Azure backup, that is for full VM backup. If you have a small amount of data, let's say I've got only 1 GB of data to be taken as backup from on premises, yes, I can take. You have got 10 GB, yes, you can take, and this can be manageable. Okay, now, so I'll come back to this Azure one later. Let's do this on premises first. In between, there are two more options which are not relevant for us. So let's go with on premises. So from on premises, you have mentioned where is your workload running. You mentioned as on premises, and what do you want to backup? So you have got files and folders, Hyper-V virtual machines, VMware machines. So these are different types of machines in on-premises: bare metal recovery, system state, SharePoint, Exchange, SQL Server. There are many types which you can take a backup. But for us, all the other solutions except files and folders are not recommended to take a backup through this backup solution because of latency, because of network issues. If the customer still wanted, or if your team lead or if your architect still wanted to take it through that area, then you can consider these options. Okay, now let me click on files and folders. So I'm going with files and folders, whereas we will consider our laptops as on premises, and we will try to upload some data using our files and folder level backup from our laptop. Okay. Okay, so I've selected these files and folders. So once you select it, then there is an option prepare infrastructure. So click on that. You have to download one software called Agent for Windows Server, or people will call it as Mars Agent, which means Mars అంటే ఏంటి? Microsoft Azure Recovery Services Agent. Okay, you have to install this software on the device where you want to take a backup. ఇప్పుడు నా ల్యాప్టాప్లో నేను బ్యాకప్ తీసుకోవాలంటే డేటా బ్యాకప్ కోసం VM లెవెల్ బ్యాకప్స్ కి డిఫరెంట్ సెటప్ ఉంటుంది. దట్ ఈస్ వీఆర్ నాట్ కవరింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఆన్ ప్రెమిసెస్. Now, so ఈ ఏజెంట్ నేను డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోవాలి. You can search in the internet for this software, or you can come back to this portal. There is an option, download the agent. So click on this. This is a simple file which is of around 44 MB, and it is getting downloaded, and it is done. Download అయిపోయింది అనమాట. Now download, second option here, there are steps clearly. Download vault credentials to register the server to the vault. అంటే ఏంటి, నువ్వు రికవరీ సర్వీసెస్ వాల్ట్ ఏదైతే క్రియేట్ చేసావో దానికి క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఆ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ అనేటివి ఆటోమేటిక్గా అజ్యూర్ జనరేట్ చేస్తుంటుంది అనమాట. సో నువ్వు ఏదైతే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇన్స్టాల్, వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ హ్యావ్ డౌన్లోడెడ్ రైట్ యాజ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ demo, whatever you have downloaded, let me refresh this page. Yeah, where is that? This one. So Mars agent installer, ఇది ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన తర్వాత నీ రికవరీ సర్వీసెస్ వాల్ట్కి రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేసుకోవాలంటే you need this vault credentials, otherwise it will not be able to identify your recovery services vault. Because if you have 10 recovery services vaults in your subscription, for each and every vault there will be different credentials. సో ఏ vault లకు నువ్వు బ్యాకప్ తీసుకోవాలి, ఆ బ్యాకప్ వాల్ట్ ని రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేసుకోవాలన్నమాట. అట్లాగని చెప్పేసి 10 ఒకేసారి చేయాలంటే కుదరదు. ఒక విఎంలో, ఒక ల్యాప్టాప్లో ఒక వాల్ట్ ని రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేయొచ్చు. అండ్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు గో ఫర్ another vault on the same system, you have to unregister the previous one and then re-register with the existing one if you want. Otherwise, register with a new vault. So I am downloading credentials as well. నేను ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాను, అడుగుతుంది అనమాట, ఏజెంట్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకున్నావా అంటే ఎస్, ఐ ఆల్రెడీ డౌన్లోడెడ్, అండ్ నౌ ఇట్స్ ద టైమ్ టు డౌన్లోడ్ vault credentials. Yes, download it. ఈ ఫైల్ డౌన్లోడ్ అయిపోయింది అనమాట. అందులో ఎన్క్రిప్టెడ్ పాస్వర్డ్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ ఓపెన్, let's try to open, it is very difficult to read. I will open with notepad. Even ఇది చూడండి, అప్లికేషన్ టైప్ మామూలుగా డాక్యుమెంట్ పీడిఎఫ్ ఫైల్ అట్లా ఉంటాయి కదా, దీనికి మాత్రం స్పెసిఫిక్గా వాల్ట్ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ ఫైల్ అని ఉందన్నమాట. సో విచ్ ఈస్ created based on security settings. So let me open with notepad and see what we can get. చూసారా, this is a encrypted key which will have your vault details, security key and everything, which is difficult to identify. You can see here demo vault resource group. So if you have notepad plus plus in your system, let me see if I have got here. No, there is no notepad plus plus. అది ఉంటే కనుక నీకు క్లియర్ గా చూపిస్తుంది అనమాట. Let me download it clear first. And happy users, unhappy users, download. Yes, this is a simple setup just to show you the data clearly, because normal notepad లో ఏమవుతుందంటే అన్ని పర్ఫెక్ట్ కనిపించవు అనమాట. Yeah, this is thin setup. I'm installing it quickly. Finish. Right. Let me open this vault credentials with notepad plus plus. Where is that? Okay, let's try in this way. Even here also it is the same case. We will, I mean, of course we can see some data, something like this in an organized way. Okay, so there will be all the information regarding to your recovery services vault. Yes, we have downloaded this one as well. And now the next steps are to install that agent and then register that agent with your vault and then schedule a backup. Let's see. So installation is very simple. I'm installing it in my laptop, where you can try on your laptop as well, considering on-premises machine. Not only on-premises, you can try in Azure server as well, considering that server if you need files and folder level backup. Okay, so let it install. It will take only a few seconds and then we will see how we can enable for these settings. Next, and see here, you are connected to internet. It means it is checking internet connectivity as well, because to enable this backup you need internet connection. Okay, next, and I don't want to use this Microsoft update for this Mars agent to get updated later automatically. Next, and to install this Mars agent it needs .NET framework and Windows PowerShell softwares. సో ఆల్రెడీ నీ సిస్టంలో ఉంటే గనక ఇక్కడ అవైలబిలిటీ అని చెప్పి చూపిస్తుంది, లేకపోతే ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకుంటుంది అది. ఓకే, ఇన్స్టాల్. Right, so this will take only few seconds and then yeah. So now backup agent installation is successful. Here it is asking proceed to registration. అంటే ఏంటి, you have to register the device wherever you have installed. You have to register that device to recovery services vault. For now you can go for this, or you can close this feature if you want to register it later. So let me try to register it later. For now I'm closing it. So to register it you have to download the credentials. So ఆ credentials ఏమవుతాయి, 10 days వరకే వ్యాలిడిటీ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో 10 days లోపల నువ్వు రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేయాలి. If you're not doing it for 10 days, after 10th day, that is 11th day, your credentials will become invalid. అప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి, మళ్ళీ కొత్త డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేయాలి. అదే నువ్వు రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేసిన తర్వాత 10 days అయినా 1 month అయినా అట్లాగే ఉంటుంది. బట్ ఫర్ ద ఫస్ట్ టైం you have to use that credentials within 10 days. If you don't use that credentials for 10 days, you have to download one more set of credentials to register your vault. Okay, this is why it is showing us expire after 10 days. రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత 10 days తర్వాత ఎక్స్పైర్ అయినా కూడా నో ఇష్యూస్, స్టిల్ యువర్ registration is valid. Now we have downloaded and installed this March agent and now it's the time to register. సో ఇక్కడ డెస్క్టాప్ మీద షార్ట్ కట్ రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ అని చూసారా, దిస్ ద వన్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ అజ్యూర్ బ్యాకప్ అని ఒక షార్ట్ కట్ వచ్చింది ఇక్కడ. ఓకే, సో ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు ఓపెన్ దిస్ వన్, ఆర్ యూ కెన్ డబుల్ క్లిక్ దిస్ వన్. డెస్క్టాప్ మీద కనిపించలేదంటే స్టార్ట్ మెనూలో సెర్చ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఓపెన్ చేయండి, and once you open that you have got an option Microsoft Azure Backup supports scheduled backups of files and folders to an online location, and then register server అని చెప్పేసి ఇక్కడ మనకు ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు యూస్ దిస్ ఫీచర్ టు రిజిస్టర్ యువర్ డివైస్. నౌ బిఫోర్ ఐ రిజిస్టర్ లెట్ మీ కమ్ బ్యాక్ టు ద పోర్టల్. సో ఇది చేసుకున్నాం, ఐఎమ్ క్లోజింగ్ దిస్ వన్, and here you can see backup items. Now we are focusing only on backup. Site recovery, replicated, ఇంకా చాలా settings ఉన్నాయి. We will see at later stages. So I'm coming to this backup items. ఇక్కడ ఏంటి, in case if you have installed Mars agents in 10 devices, then ఇక్కడ మార్స్ అజూర్ బ్యాకప్ ఏజెంట్ అని ఉంది కదా, ఇక్కడ కౌంట్ 10 అని చూపిస్తుంది అనమాట. ఎందుకంటే 10 డివైసెస్లో ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసావు అండ్ ఆ 10 డివైసెస్ని ఈ స్పెసిఫిక్ వాల్ట్కి రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేసావు అంటే కనుక దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ షో హియర్ యాజ్ అ 10. If we install only on one device, let's say in my laptop or in your laptop, altogether 2 to this vault, yes, it can show as 2. If it is only one, it will show as only 1. And same like virtual machines. How many virtual machines you are taking backup? It will show the count as 1, 2, 3, 4 based on your settings. So we will see this Azure virtual machines and settings later. For now, backup agent installation is showing as 0. Now, let me try to register my device to that vault. ఎలా రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేయాలి? After the installation of Azure backup agent, register server. Next, here it is asking vault credentials. Browse it and go to the downloads wherever you have saved. Select this one and open. So as soon as I browse this vault credentials and select that, it is showing as demo recovery vault 01 region East US. Okay, now click on next and you have to give the password. So why do we need the password here? You can see that backups are encrypted to protect the confidentiality of your data. So in order to decrypt the backups, అంటే బ్యాకప్ తీసుకుంటావు అదంతా ఎన్క్రిప్షన్ ఫార్మాట్ లో ఉంటుంది అనమాట, అంటే విచ్ ఇస్ డిఫికల్ట్ టు రీడ్ ద డేటా. సెక్యూరిటీ పర్పస్ కోసం you have to generate one password where you can use that password to decrypt the data. ఆ బ్యాకప్స్ రిస్టోర్ చేసుకున్నప్పుడు డీక్రిప్షన్ చేయాలంటే ఎన్క్రిప్షన్ డీక్రిప్షన్ ఉంటాయి అనమాట. డీక్రిప్షన్ చేయాలంటే ఈ పాస్వర్డ్ ఉండాలి. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు జనరేట్ యువర్ పాస్వర్డ్ విచ్ ఈస్ giving you 36 characters, లేదంటే you can type your own password which you can remember 16 characters password. ఓకే, అది సేవ్ చేసుకోవాలి. Enter a location to save the passphrase. Browse it. So let me use this one, OneDrive, and yeah, I'm using OneDrive. Select and register. Okay, it is asking like you have selected a location on this machine itself. అంటే ఏంటి, ఈ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇదే మిషన్ లో సేవ్ చేస్తున్నావు, ఒకవేళ ఈ మిషన్కి ఏమైనా ఇష్యూ అయితే ఆ పాస్వర్డ్ పోతుంది, ఎట్లా రిస్టోర్ చేస్తా ఉంటున్నాడు. సో నేనేమంటున్నా, పర్లేదు ఎస్ అని చెప్పి వెళ్ళిపోతున్నా, బికాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ ల్యాబ్. యాక్చువల్గా అయితే నా సిస్టంలో కాకుండా వేరే నెట్వర్క్లో ఎక్కడో సేవ్ చేయాలి నేను, లైక్ ఫైల్ సర్వర్లో కానీ లేకపోతే వేరే అదర్ సర్వర్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే నా దగ్గర అక్కడ సేవ్ చేసుకొని పెట్టుకోవాలన్నమాట. ఎందుకంటే దీని బ్యాకప్ డేటా పాస్వర్డ్స్ అక్కడ ఉంటే కనుక ఇది డౌన్ అయితే అక్కడ నుండి తెచ్చుకోవచ్చు. సో నౌ it is registering with Azure Recovery Services backup solution. Okay, so Microsoft Azure backup is now available for this server, and ఎక్కడ సేవ్ చేశారు పాస్వర్డ్ అని చెప్పేసి ఇక్కడ చూపిస్తుంది. And there is also one warning. Storing the passwords locally can lead to passphrase loss due to deletions and ransomware effects. So in case if there is any unexpected deletions or any crashes on the system using like cyber attacks or any others and virus, if it gets attacked, this machine will get corrupted. అప్పుడు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది సిస్టమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ అని చెప్తుంది. So which is fine as it is a lab. So we're going with this step. So close it. So once you are done with the registration, you can see various other options. ఇంతకుముందు ఇన్ని ఆప్షన్స్ లేవు మనకు because you did not register that server, and once you register then only you will be able to take a backup. Registration చేయకుండా backup తీసుకుంటారంటే no, it is not possible because there should be some connectivity, and which is nothing but to the recovery services vault where you have planned, and అందులో స్టోరేజ్ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి అక్కడ సేవ్ అవుతుంది అన్నమాట డేటా అంతా కూడా. ఓకే, నౌ లెట్ మీ రిఫ్రెష్ దిస్ పేజ్. మనకి ఇక్కడ Azure బ్యాకప్ ఏజెంట్ 1 అని చెప్పి చూపించాలి. సో యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ ఏ ఏ సర్వర్లో ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసావు అనేది కూడా ఇక్కడ చూడొచ్చు అనమాట. మేబీ ఇట్ ఈస్ టేకింగ్ టైమ్ టు డిస్ప్లే హియర్. లెట్ మీ గో త్రూ దిస్. స్టిల్ ఇట్ ఈస్ షోయింగ్ us నథింగ్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది అప్పుడు, వన్స్ యూ క్లిక్ ఆన్ దిస్ బ్యాకప్ ఏజెంట్, యాజ్ అండ్ వెన్ ఇట్ షోస్ దిస్ నెంబర్, ఇక్కడ నీకు ఏ ల్యాప్టాప్ అయితే ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసావో లేకపోతే ఏ సర్వర్లో ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసావో ఆ డీటెయిల్స్ అన్ని కనిపిస్తాయి అన్నమాట. నౌ backup is installed and backup agent is installed. Now you have to schedule a backup. So backup schedule చేయాలంటే ఏముండాలి, you have to know which file or you have to know which folder needs to be considered for backup, or you want entire disk or entire data whatever it is there in C drive, or entire data whatever it is there in D drive, E drive, you can go for that as well. So here you have a schedule backup option in the right hand side, or you can come back here from the menu bar. You can see action schedule backup. You can use this feature as well. Okay, so I'm going with schedule backup here, and it is giving you the information. Before beginning this wizard, you should decide what files or folders to include in the backup, what files or folders to exclude from the backup. ఓకే, ఒక ఫోల్డర్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటే అందులో 10 డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయి అనుకుందాం. సో 10 సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటే మళ్ళీ అందులో నీకు 3 అవసరం లేదు, 4 అవసరం లేదు. Then you're going to exclude that folders, that files. So you should know all this information before you enable backup, and how many days that you want to take a backup. Is it only for 7 days or 30 days or 1 year, 10 years, 100 years? It depends. So I'm going with this next option here, next. And now we have to add the items to take a backup, whatever that you want. So for me, I've got some data here where I will use this notepad plus just to show you, and I'll use this Morse agent. Add items. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఈ చెక్ చేశారనుకోండి, ఈ ఆప్షన్ మొత్తం సి డ్రైవ్, నా సిస్టంలో సి డ్రైవ్ ఒకటే ఉంది. సో మొత్తం అన్ని ఫోల్డర్లు సెలెక్ట్ అయిపోతాయి అనమాట ఇఫ్ యూ సెలెక్ట్ దిస్ వన్. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm not selecting this feature, so I should know the path of the data. So downloads లో ఉందన్నమాట. సో డౌన్లోడ్స్కి వెళ్ళాలంటే ఏం చేయాలి, నేను సి డ్రైవ్కి వెళ్ళాలి, అండ్ హియర్ యూజర్స్ ఉన్నది, యూజర్స్కి వెళ్ళాలి, అండ్ దెన్ నా యూజర్ నేమ్కి వెళ్ళాను, అందులో డౌన్లోడ్స్ అనే ఫోల్డర్ ఉంది. ఇక్కడ నీకు డేటా అంతా కనిపిస్తుంది అనమాట. వాట్ ఎవర్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఇన్ మై ల్యాప్టాప్ ఇట్ విల్ షో ఇన్ దిస్ సెక్షన్. సో నేనేం చేస్తాను, మళ్ళీ ఇది సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నాను అనుకో, ఈ బాక్స్ ద పేరెంట్ ఫోల్డర్, all the directories under that folder will get selected. So what I'm doing is I'm unchecking this. I will scroll down and see what kind of data that I need to take a backup. సో అందుకోసమని నీ దగ్గర డేటా రెడీగా ఉంటే నీకు ఏ డేటా తీసుకోవాలి బ్యాకప్ అని తెలుసుంటే కనుక దెన్ యూ కెన్ గో ఫర్ దిస్ option directly. So I'm using this RDB file as well for a backup, just for a lab. Okay, and I will use this Mars agent as well, just to show. I'm using just a small size files because we are using this for lab. And okay, I think that's enough. If you want to upload any document, we can do that as well. Okay, let me use this cost management as well, one Excel file. Click on OK. So నేను ఏం చేశాను, మెయిన్ parent folder select చేయలేదు. I'm using subfolders and files under that folders. Otherwise it will select entire folder, which is not required for me. Click on OK. So now see here, a path అంతా వచ్చేస్తుంది అనమాట. See users and username, downloads, and the file name. So like this you will have all the information whatever that you have on your system. It will copy the entire path, but only the single file, not the entire data on your downloads folder. Whatever you have selected, only that one will be considered for backup. So in case ఈ 3 files లో మళ్ళీ exclusion ఏమని చేయాలి, you can add exclusion settings by clicking on this feature, add exclusion. ఇప్పుడు ఇది ఎప్పుడు యూజ్ అవుతుందంటే, సి డ్రైవ్ మొత్తం తీసుకుంటున్నారు, అందులో ఒక ఫోల్డర్ ఏదో అవసరం లేదనుకుంటే అప్పుడు యూజ్ అవుతుంది అనమాట ఇది. బట్ ఫర్ నౌ వీఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఓన్లీ selected files. So exclusion is not applicable here because already we have excluded all others and we are going with this option. Okay, right. Now we have selected 3 files and the next step is backup schedule. So how many days that do you want to take a backup and at what time? Do you want to take backup at 8:30 p.m. every day or 8:30 a.m. every day? You have got timings. So let's say every day after my business hours around 11 p.m. I have to take a backup. So similar backup can be taken 3 times a day using this tool. అంటే ఏంటి, నువ్వు ఏదైతే ఆ డేటా సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నావు 3 ఫైల్స్ పర్ డే మాక్సిమం 3 టైమ్స్ తీసుకోవచ్చు, తీసుకోకుండా పోవచ్చు. మినిమం 1 టైం తీసుకోవచ్చు, ఐ మీన్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద బిజినెస్. మాక్సిమం నాకు గంటకు ఒకసారి కావాలంటే అలా కుదరదు, మాక్సిమం 3 టైమ్స్ తీసుకోవచ్చు. So let's say morning before anyone logs in, let me take a backup around 8 o'clock, and then I need around afternoon 1 p.m. one backup, and again around closing time 23:30, which is 11:30 p.m. So ఈ టైంలో కావాలని చూస్ చేసుకుంటాను. Otherwise I will just, where is that option, none, I will choose none for other 2 settings. ఇన్ని బ్యాకప్స్ ఎందుకు బాబు, నా దగ్గర కాస్ట్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది, ఒక బ్యాకప్ చాలు అనుకుంటాను. సో దెన్ ఐ విల్ గో ఫర్ దిస్ 11:30 p.m. only. Okay, if not this one, a week, నాకు ఎవ్రీడే వద్దు, సో ఓన్లీ నాకు ఫ్రైడే నైట్ కావాలి. బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ద వీకెండ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు టేక్ అండ్ సేవ్ ద డేటా at the end of the business hours on Friday. పెట్టుకుంటాను every 1 week, and that on every Friday at 11:30 p.m. I want to take a backup. If not, you can go for every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but not on Saturday, Sundays. You can go for this, and this means if you read the data here, let's say every week, whether it is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, at 11:30 p.m. I have to take a backup. How many weeks? That will be that will be there in the next step, which is a retention policy. Now we are doing a schedule. So let's go for a daily backup, where you'll be able to understand clearly. Next, a retention policy. So తీసుకుంటున్నావు బ్యాకప్, సరే ఎవ్రీడే తీసుకుందాం అనుకున్నావు. తీసుకున్నది ఎన్ని రోజులు ఉంచాలనుకున్నావు? Do you want to store the data for 180 days continuously, or do you want to store the data for only 7 days? It's up to a business need, because each and every organization, based on the location that they have got, based on the type of data that they have, they will be maintaining all the data. If you consider financial transactions, whatever we do through the net banking or through phone pay or whatever it is, they will retain it for maximum tenure. Like a full backup will be there with the banks every time. It's not 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. Let's say you're doing it, you're opening the account today, and after 20 years, if you want to have some data, yes, it will be there with them. Okay, so those will be the transactions which will be stored in a cool storage, a cool tier. అంటే వెరీ ఓల్డ్ డేటా అంతా కూడా కూల్ టైర్లో ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో డేటా ఉంటుంది, బట్ యాక్సెస్ చేయడానికి టైం పట్టేస్తుంది అనమాట. బికాస్ ఆర్కైవ్ మోడ్లో ఉంటుంది, అండ్ వాళ్ళు స్టోరేజ్ సేవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఆప్షన్స్ పెట్టుకుంటారు, విచ్ ఇస్ ఫైన్. నౌ if you want to go for daily retention policy, go for 7 days, or go for, let's say I want 10,000 days. You can choose 10,000 days as well, which will be, I don't know, if you divide it by 365, you will get more and more years as well, if you want to listen in years. Now let's say 7 days. And weekly retention along with the 7 days, do you want to retain the data on every Saturday, let's say every Friday night, and for 104 weeks? Daily data 7 days ఎట్లాగో ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఏంటి, if you are starting backup today, 7 days continuous గా బ్యాకప్ అవుతుంది. 8th డే ఏమవుతుంది తెలుసా, very previous old backup will get deleted, and then 8th day will become 7th day. So it means once you it will take care of automatically. So previous one backup will be deleted and additional backup will be added, so that you will have the total count of 7 days. Okay, అట్లా ఉంటుంది అనమాట. So likewise, you can also store not only with 7 days, every Friday. 7 days ఎట్లాగో ఉంటుంది, నాకు ఎవ్రీ ఫ్రైడే తీసుకోవాలి, ఎందుకంటే లాంగ్ టర్మ్ కోసం వీక్లీ బ్యాకప్ నేను లాంగ్ టర్మ్ అట్లే పెడతాను అనుకుంటాను. 100 weeks, or if you want more weeks, you can give that. లేదు వీక్లీ నాకు ఇబ్బందిగా ఉంది, దెన్ ఐ కెన్ గో ఫర్ మంత్లీ బ్యాకప్. ఇయర్లీ వద్దు, వీక్లీ వద్దు, ఐ వాంట్ మంత్లీ. ఎవ్రీ మంత్ on first, let's say if it is August 1st, I can go for this. Second, third, like this, you have got dates here. But unfortunately, there is no date as like one. Okay, it is there already. Sorry, one is there already here selected. So I'm selecting remove. So every month, last day, whether it is 30 days, 31 days, it doesn't matter for me. I want it every month, last day, whether it is a weekend or weekday, I don't mind. Okay, you can choose that. And 60 months, which is like 5 years. 7 days తో పాటు 5 years కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది అనమాట. ఈ 7 days అనేది చేంజ్ అవుతా ఉంటుంది. ఇది డిఫరెంట్. అట్లా లేదు, లాస్ట్ డే లేకుండా, లెట్స్ సే ఎవ్రీ మంత్ లాస్ట్ సాటర్డే, ఆర్ ఎవ్రీ మంత్ థర్డ్ వీక్ సండే. You can choose whatever the options that you need to enable it for your system. Okay, I'm canceling this one. Since it is our lab, I'm going with only daily retention policy. Yearly, yes, you can go for this one as well. Let's say every quarter I want to take a backup. So, or because it is yearly, you can choose yearly ones, or go for, let's say, January, February, every month. Again, this will become like monthly retention policy every Saturday or last week. Something like this. You can mix and match all the settings. Okay. So I'm unchecking this one as well. This is for 7 days. Click on next. And whatever the backup that we are doing is through the network. సో ఆఫ్లైన్లో ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాయి, బట్ ఇదేంటంటే నేను ఆల్రెడీ డిస్కస్ చేశాను. డేటా బాక్స్ అని, లేకపోతే ఇంపోర్ట్ ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ జాబ్ అని చెప్పాను కదా. యూ కెన్ యూస్ దోస్ జాబ్స్ టు ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ లార్జర్ అమౌంట్స్ ఆఫ్ డేటా. ఓకే, అది ఆఫ్లైన్ మెథడ్, వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ డేటా బాక్స్ ఆర్ import export job, if you recall that terminology. But for now we are going with the network transfer because the data size is very less, and click on next. So the backup type that we have chosen is files and folders, right? If you remember, getting started ఇక్కడ ఏం చేసాం మనం, on premises select చేసుకున్నాం, and the first option files and folders, and prepare infrastructure. You can use this. Okay, so it is showing us files and folders, and it will show the backup policy as well. Weekly frequency, did we select weekly? No, it is only daily. Fine, we did not select anything. It is only 7 days. అంటే 7 days రెగ్యులర్గా అవుతుందంటే ఎస్ అవుతుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఈ రోజు డేటా బ్యాకప్ తీసుకుంటుంది, రేపు బ్యాకప్ అయ్యే లోపల నువ్వు మళ్ళీ ఆ డాక్యుమెంట్ ఏదో చేంజెస్ చేసి ఉంటావు. అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే ఆ చేంజెస్ మాత్రమే బ్యాకప్ తీసుకుంటుంది. థర్డ్ డే ఏం చేస్తుంది, అగైన్ సెకండ్ డేకి థర్డ్ డేకి ఏదో చేంజెస్ ఉన్నాయో కంపేర్ చేసుకొని ఆ చేంజెస్ మాత్రమే తీసుకుంటుంది. వీ కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఇంక్రిమెంటల్ బ్యాకప్, ఆర్ యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ డిఫరెన్షియల్ బ్యాకప్. It means whatever there is a difference in between the data, that will be captured, and if you want to restore it, ఒకవేళ అది ఆ డేటా రిస్టోర్ చేయాలంటే, let's say if you select the third day to restore, అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తుంది, ప్రీవియస్ సెకండ్ డే ఫస్ట్ డే ఏమైతే చేంజెస్ ఉన్నాయో అవన్నీ లేటెస్ట్ దాంట్లో ఉన్న లేదా కంపేర్ చేసుకొని a file will get restored అనమాట. So there is a process for that. We'll see that one also. Now finish. So for the first time, until unless it triggers to the time whatever we have selected on the schedule, backup will not be enabled. For now only schedule is enabled. Schedule పెట్టామంతే. ఎప్పుడు నా సిస్టంలో 11:30 PM అయినప్పుడు, అండ్ ఆ టైంకి నా మెషిన్ రన్నింగ్లో ఉండాలి, లేకపోతే ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది జాబ్. ఇక్కడ చూసారా, నెక్స్ట్ బ్యాకప్ ఈజ్ షెడ్యూల్డ్ టైం 25/7/22 23:30. Okay, let me come back to the portal. ఇక్కడ చూసారా, బ్యాకప్ ఏజెంట్ ఇంతకుముందు మనకు కనిపించలేదు because that has taken some time. So click on this backup agent. It will show the laptop name. So this is my laptop name and C drive. ఇవన్నీ చేసుకున్నాం. లాస్ట్ బ్యాకప్ తీసుకోలేదు ఎప్పుడు. లాస్ట్ బ్యాకప్ టైం ఏదో ర్యాండమ్గా ఇచ్చారు. ఇట్ ఈస్ జస్ట్ ర్యాండమ్ నెంబర్ బికాస్ వీ డి నాట్ టేక్ ఎనీ బ్యాకప్. మరి ఇందాక చేసింది ఏంటంటే షెడ్యూల్ చేసామంతే. సో ఈ టైమింగ్తో నాకు సంబంధం లేదు, ఐ వాంట్ బ్యాకప్ ఇమీడియట్లీ. It means then you go for backup now. There is an option called backup now. So click on this, and here just next and backup. No need to choose any other options. You can just go with this. So for the first time, it will take some time, even though it is a small file, and then it will get completed. So we will see once we're done with this backup. So tomorrow I will show all the history of this backup schedule, backup jobs in Azure portal, and also we will see how to recover the data. Let it complete, and meanwhile you can ask questions in between. And you can see that data is getting transferred. Okay, so it is going through, and let's wait for the completion. Get user compressed and includes metadata. So data compress అవుతుంది, so that in the backend your data will be consuming very less space if it is compressed. Now you can see backup is successfully completed. We call this one as manual backup. నేను ఏం చేశాను, షెడ్యూల్ చేసాము ఫస్ట్ ఎవ్రీడే 11:30 కావాలని చెప్పేసి, బట్ 11:30 వరకు ఆగలేకుండా నాకు అర్జెంటుగా ఏదో బ్యాకప్ అవసరం ఉండి I have done it as backup now, which we call it as manual backup. మాన్యువల్గా చేసామన్నమాట. So I will leave this schedule also like this, and tonight 23:30 we will be able to see one more backup. And for now you can see last backup status is successful, and this is the timestamp and available recovery points. అంటే ఏంటి, ఒకసారి బ్యాకప్ తీసుకుంటే ఒకసారి రిస్టోర్ చేయడానికి నీకు ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుంది. అదే టూ టైమ్స్ బ్యాకప్ ఉన్నదనుకో, and recovery points will be 2 times. It means there are 2 backups which you can use it to restore the data. So for now we have got only one, and for tomorrow, once I'm done with this schedule, if I can have the system on by 11:30 p.m., then this will take a backup. So I will leave it like that only because it is Indian time. So I will leave it so that we can see the remaining settings in next session.